Coming to you live from the top floor of the OBB Corporate Tower in downtown Coral Gables. You're listening to the top-rated American football podcast in countries that don't play American football. Ain't that some shit? These are the Orange Bowl Boys.
Brought to you by Ed Morse. Join the over 2 million people that are backed by Morse. Visit edmorse.com.
Here's Toast, Roman, and Scoop.
Welcome to the Mario era, chapter 61.
61 di Mario, it's Mario, we're doing a spring of practice, and the baseball team sucks. Boo.
For those of you that are watching on the video, you can notice that Scoop is not here. We have brought in the fifth OBB, as we like to mention, Mr. John Michaels from State of the U Pod, the OBB Fins Pod, the #1 morning show in Atlanta. John, thank you very much for giving us some time. We appreciate it, bro.
Dude, it's great to see you guys. I mean, unfortunately, the crazy part, I've met Ro, Toast. We've talked 1,000 times on the phone, and every time I come down to tailgate, I end up somewhere else drunk, and I never make it to where you guys are at. So this year, I promise, I'm coming to an OBB Boys tailgate, and let's just say my wild 48-year-old ass will be there having a great time. I cannot wait.
Well, we actually know when that game will be this year. It'll actually be the last home game of the year.
Okay.
So I think it's Louisville. So there we go.
Okay, well, I won't be there for that one. I have my eyes on 2 home games. I'm still debating. I'm waiting on Mondo to tell me where we're going to get season tickets, because I've had season tickets kind of all over. And typically when I get them, because I only come down once or twice a year, I just give them away. I don't care. Whoever's going to go to the game, you can have them. I mean, the tickets, the money has never been an issue. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, I tailgate with Mondo half the time, or I'm around Co or Bird or any of these other guys, and I might as well get an extra ticket with them. And I said, why am I buying 2? Because the great thing, my wife has decided she doesn't like sitting in 95-degree weather for 5.5, 6, 7 hours. So she's now given me carte blanche 2 times a year. Just go to Miami and have fun.
Nice.
So I'm looking at A&M and I'm looking at Clemson. And then my birthday happens to be the weekend we play those clowns from in Tallahassee. And I'll make that's only about a 3.5-hour drive for me. So I'll drive to Tallacrappie and go down there. And hopefully we get some get back over those clowns.
Speaking of... Go ahead, Toasty.
We'll see. Well, yeah, I don't. All right, we'll see.
Well, he just said it too, because I kind of downsized too. I was always getting 2 tickets, and it was just sporadic when family could go. They're so super busy. Daughters, not in high school, but doing a lot of high school functions. And obviously, I was like, I just went down to 1 ticket this year. I was like, all right, I'm going down to 1 ticket. And then talking about Scoopy didn't renew his tickets either, because that's the guy that we tease sits when he pees. So he doesn't want to be in that 98-degree heat. He's just going to crochet at home, I think, and then he's going to try to, I think, maybe get some club seats. So we'll see what happens.
Man.
Well, no, I'm a club seat snob now. My buddy Carlos has had Section 217 now for about a decade. And him and his buddies have 4 seats. Well, the 2 of the seats are for their dad, one of the guy's dads, who's like a 5th-generation Miami grad. Well, the dad's like 70-something. So 9 times out of 10, they don't even want to go to the game. So when I come down, Carlos has a lot of times been nice enough, hey, give away your Section 150 tickets, come sit with us in club section. And now I'm such a snob, I want to be able to go sit in the air condition. I want to walk back and grab my Tito's Red Bull for $23 and have a drink and be ready to go.
There comes a point in your life. There comes a point in your life where you're not 20s and 30s anymore. You've been in the lower level. You've been in the upper level. You've been everywhere. Comes a point where, you know what, bro, I like AC. I don't want to set my balls off. I've hit a certain stature in life now. I'm in my mid-40s. I'm like 50. Yeah, no, I'm sitting in the fucking club. Call me a pussy, whatever. I'm sitting in the club.
And let's be honest. How much of a prerequisite are you going to put, like, percentage base? If Ruiz pulls this off, and a lot of the alumni and the base, and they get it, this new stadium has to be indoor, right? But I think the rendering said it wasn't going to be indoor. Like, this has to be. Please, can we just make it an in? Can we make it a Carrier Dome? For the longest time, by the way, random facts over. The Carrier Dome was it was an AC company. It didn't have AC.
Didn't have AC.
No.
It was so funny.
If you played there in September, you just died in the Carrier Dome. And this is where me working for the Falcons for so long, I became a snob. I hated going to Tampa. Hated. First of all, the Tampa field is a dump, and it doesn't matter when you play there. You get swamp ass the entire time. I didn't want to stand in that all day. I wanted to play in the Georgia Dome, or now what is Mercedes-Benz Stadium. As much as New Orleans is a piece of garbage, at least it was AC. I wanted to go to Indianapolis. I wanted to go to Dallas. I didn't want to be outdoors ever. So, yeah, if John Ruiz fix this thing, get us a roof. You got billions of dollars you're throwing around. You're suing the NCAA now. Get us a roof.
I don't understand. Yeah. Well, dude, what's his name has billions of dollars, and he built a thing with a hole. Like, why wouldn't you have just built? Like, he spent $500. Why didn't you just build the hole? Put the roof. Why did you do all of that and not close it?
Yeah, in South Florida.
Like, what? I'm sorry. Is God looking down to watch the Dolphins? Not over the last 20 years, he ain't.
Right.
No, even Dallas Cowboys fixed that one because that's why they had a hole in the stadium. For those I didn't know that, because it was God's favorite team. Apparently, it was a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Not anymore.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, not anymore.
All right,
not anymore.
Let's get down to Greentree. Talk a little bit about spring practice, man. All right, hang on.
72. I'll pick up Scoop. I'll pick him up. Let's go.
So, man, I'll tell you what, it is. This year's flying by. It seems like the season just wrapped up. That glorious 5-7 campaign we all loved, and all of a sudden now we're mid-March. The boys are out on Greentree, and we got spring practice, guys.
I have never been, and I hate to say this because I love you guys, and obviously I love the U. I have never been less enthused for spring practice in my life. I mean, spring practice came around. I go, really? They're already practicing for what? Like, what are they? We just hired coaches like an hour and a half ago. What actually are they implementing over this time? I mean, in all seriousness, obviously the roster churn is great. Getting a lot of guys out of there that clearly didn't have their heads where they were supposed to be. Jettisoning some coaches who had egos bigger than their production, Josh Gaddis, and some other guys along that line. It will be great when I get to September. But I think last year, and I don't know if you guys were the same way, I had so much hype and so much energy like Miami's really about to be back. I'm on the radio here in Atlanta. Like, you guys got to deal with me in September. I got Mario Cristobal. We're about to kick Texas A&M's ass. I bought into all of that. And I think this year I'm going, I really don't care. I mean, I do, obviously. I mean, I got tattoos all over my body. But I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to hype myself up in March and April and then in October be pissed off on Saturday afternoon the entire time.
See, this is the beauty of where I came from last year, because I was like, no, I'm not buying this team, because this entire roster had done nothing over the last 4 years but go 500. And you guys were crazy if you thought that Mario had some magic pixie dust he was going to go, and now all of a sudden have these guys go 10-2. Just stop. So John, I'm the opposite of you. And these guys know. I mean, I was being crazy optimistic by picking like 8-4. I was like all about these guys fucking really going 500 deep down in my heart. And so now, dude, I was in the mentality of I'm all about these kids that Mario brings in, and just enjoying the next 2 to 3 years of watching them develop into what is hopefully going to be a dominant football team. So when I was going through the roster and everything this year, like, I love the exodus has been phenomenal. Just the absolute, and you mentioned the churn, the absolute turnover. It's an entirely new roster. They're all Mario's guys now. All of them. They're all Mario's guys now. So it's no more buying in. These guys have all bought in. So I'm kind of excited about about the growth, about a young team, watching them grow. But I totally get where you're coming from, because last year was it was dental surgery.
It was worse. Dental surgery, at least you get some laughing gas.
Listen, I appreciate the exodus too. I mean, he was like a Cuban, kind of like Moses with no beard. Come pick up your kids if they're complaining about that.
Going in the other direction.
Yeah, walked out to the beach there at South Beach, lifted up. And it wasn't a staff, though. It was a cafecito. He lifted up the cafecito. The Atlantic parted, and out went a whole bunch of people. I agree with that, too. I think we never really had issues with that. I mean, despite all the fan hyperbole and all the puffery that we do every single season. And I agree with John. This one's a little bit different for me, and I'll get back to that. The one thing I always felt confident, Mario's going to recruit his ass off. Right. And I think Mario's going to continue to do that off the backs of a 5-7 season. To see him so prominent in terms of getting a top 5 class. And of course that shifted at the very, very, very last second. but the guy can recruit. But you're right, John. Like this spring, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't know why I don't care. It's a new offensive system. It's an air raid friendly system. I'm being a former quarterback. This should excite me. And I'm like, yeah, you're at that point where you're going to have to prove it on the field. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. When we ask for record predictions later on, Toast, you're going to ask me what's the first game? I don't care. I have to play it. Next one. I don't care. What's the next one? We have to play it. Whatever the record's going to be, it's going to be because I need these guys to prove it on the field. I'm over it.
Well, when I texted you guys earlier in the week and said, hey, we're going to do a roster breakdown, you should have said, do I have no interest in talking about spring practice?
No, I don't mind. Look, the thing is, I don't mind doing a roster breakdown because, quite frankly, I started looking at the roster. I don't know a lot of these guys. Like, I know them. I know the names. But I don't truly know what to expect. I don't know, with 2 new eyes at offensive and defensive coordinator, new staff all over the place with position coaches, you get a fresh set of eyes for real. Like I thought last year, all right, fresh set of eyes. Guys like Corey Flagg aren't going to play. And then Corey Flagg's out there 90% of the snaps. I see fresh set of eyes. Okay, the offensive line's got to be better. Apparently, Alex Mirabal still has his arms and legs, although he promised he was going to cut those off if he had a bad offensive line. They were no better. I got excited because, all right, I got Tyler Van Dyke. And again, I'm on the radio in Atlanta talking about he's a Heisman contender. This year, I don't even want to mention his name. I'm just like, if Tyler has a good game, I'm like, hey, Tyler Van Dyke had a good game. Like, that's how embarrassed I was a year ago. But I was interested as I started scrolling through the roster, looking, going, we have a chance with some real influx of talent. Like, if you just look at the offensive line, there's legitimately 8 or 9 guys that I think can start and are going to earn a job maybe by September. Last year, it was like, all right, I can pencil these 5 guys in, and I only really like 2 of them. This year, out of those 8 or 9 guys, I really like 8 or 9 guys, and I hope that competition really carries over and finally gets this team to do what it's supposed to do.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
Some of the early reports, too. I mean, you're hearing the offensive line, and it's so – listen, this is so commonplace, right? The offensive line or a lot of the offensive guys, or when there's a new staff change, they're all, oh, this system's better, this system's easier. But you're already hearing the reports from the offensive line. Yeah, it's easier to pick up the blitzes. It's easier to do this. It's, kind of taking parting shots at Josh Gaddis.
Better not be more damn complicated. I can tell you that because they never picked up the blitz last year.
Yeah. Well, and, to get to the specific side of it, and that's why I like the pivot. I like the 180 pivot to Shannon Dawson because I felt like, listen, guys, stop playing in a phone booth. Let's not overcomplicate this. There's too many guys at the line of scrimmage. And just stand over there on the sideline. At least you take half the team with it so my guys don't have to stress so much between play to play. And then you're hearing the reports, too, that Tyler's going to be able to maybe check out of a bad call. So when he sees, the ICU staring at him in the face, he has the, carte blanche to go ahead and check out of that instead of, having 2 Duke guys laying on his shoulder. That a boy, Josh Gaddis.
I mean, listen, you look at the offensive line. When I was going over, I was like, wow, I mean, I love the 1 deep. I mean, if these guys can stay healthy, I mean, they've got some – I mean, if Zion can can Zion finally be we've been, he's been getting preseason picked to be a potential first-round draft pick the last 2 years, and can he finally be healthy and play? And you look at the kid that got from UCF as the center. You look at the kid from Alabama and Cone, and then you look at Mauigoa, and then Pancake also coming off the bench behind these guys. You got to think the offensive line is going to be the best-looking thing. I mean, if Mirabal can't get these guys going, then these are his guys. Then they're big. Right.
You get Jalen Rivers back from injury. I thought he was the best interior lineman we had a lot last year. Ines Cooper, another guy who is just a mountain mover inside. You have legit 8 guys, maybe 9 if you throw in Jonathan Dennis.
I'd like to see them get someone else to back up.
Yeah, Sagapolo didn't play well last year. Seymour never really got a chance. Matt McCoy looked when the one time he got in against Pitt, he looked like a high school player blocking against college guys. But you mentioned 8, 9 guys. Last year when we lost one player, it was like, oh crap. We have got, and I can't remember, was it John Campbell? When John Campbell had to be our left tackle, I knew we were in trouble. Like, nothing against the kid, nice kid, played hard. He wasn't talented enough to be a starting left tackle at a Power 5 school. Not like
Miami. That was true in a lot of positions on our squad.
Yeah. Hey, you could probably name, out of 22 starters, there were probably 10 guys that weren't D1 starters.
Back it up a little bit too, right behind those guys, running back. How are you feeling about running back? John, we talked about this last week too. I mean, we're in that dangerous, precarious spot now that are we going to be able to count on Don Chaney? One more injury, and at that point, I think you just got to lemon law this. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and you don't want to like take the shot and like kind of downplay him to like a materialistic object. But at this point, it's just not going to work. So I feel, coming into last year, we felt we had a really deep running back room, but Trevante Citizen's not going to play this spring. And then we're back on Chaney again. I'm not really liking the depth. I'd like to get your take on that.
Yeah, I really like what Henry Parrish did a year ago. I didn't know he was going to be as good as he was when he came over from Ole Miss, and he kind of impressed me with his ability to break tackles, run between the tackles. Do I trust Don Chaney? No. Unfortunately, Ro, I'm right there with you. When you get injured 2-3 years in a row, he's teetering on Robert Burns territory. Burns had all the potential in the world and just never could stay healthy. Citizen, again, you're going to have an entire offseason before we actually see what he is. And the two freshmen come in are going to be really good in Fletcher and Johnson. I like Fletcher. I think that's a guy that, eventually you can give 20 carries to, but probably the first month of the season, you're talking 5, 6, 7 touches at most. It's a dangerous spot because you're relying on two freshmen and two injury-prone guys to go along with your one starter. So that's never a good group, at least early on. Now, again, if Fletcher or Johnson turns into an every down back, we don't have these problems. But I got to see health, and I've got to see freshmen mature really, really quick.
Yeah, because if it's not the two freshmen, then all you have are a bunch of walk-ons, like senior walk-ons.
Which worked out really well last year with Lucius Stanley.
Listen, we're all pulling for Don.
Stanley might have been our second best.
We're all pulling for Don,
which is sad.
But this is his last shot. This is his last shot. Oof. All right. So
I also think with that, though, remember, there is another portal that'll open up after spring practice. You are going to see guys, and it might be guys that are 4th or 5th on a depth chart somewhere, but Mike can come here and be 4th or 5th on a depth chart or 3rd. So you're going to see some movement, I think, a little bit more when the portal reopens here in another month.
Well, and you bring that up, and it's a good thing the portal's going to open again, because when you look at the roster, there's one position group that basically they're about ready to put an ad into the Sun Sentinel Miami Herald for open tryouts. And that is, we have 3 safeties on the roster.
Oh,
we have the 2 guys, and we got Markeith Williams. That's it.
Well, they moved Jaden Harris. I think I read this week that he moved to safety from corner, which is probably much needed. So now we have 4 safeties.
3 and a quarter. 3.5.
But I don't think the taxes even re-roll on that move until like the following year, so we can't really consider him a safety, right? He can't even get homestead exemption on that piece of property. Right. So yeah, but I saw what John was doing too. Yeah, we'll talk about the safety and then we'll transition because wide receiver as well. We said it. Cam Kinchens, phenomenal, All-American. He scared away all the room.
He did.
He literally scared those kids apart. Like when Cuban, Moses went over to the Atlantic there. Those were the first to go. Let my people go. Those were the people who went to safeties, just took off.
I mean, I'm looking down on the depth chart. Brian Balaam is still listed, but I don't think he's going to play. Caleb Spencer, I'm not sure that he's going to be a safety by the time he gets on the field because he's a man-child. That dude looks like he's going to rock down inside and be a linebacker. And then again, Jaden Harris. So you're talking about a true freshman who probably is playing out of position, a guy who was a corner a couple of weeks ago, and Brian Balaam, who was in the portal, and I don't think he's actually going to be there. So you're right. I didn't even think about safety because I'm so fixated on James and Cam. And I forget that Avonte Williams got the hell out of there, which, again, super talented for whatever reason down the stretch last year. He was getting about 4 snaps a game anyway. So I hope Cam or James stay healthy for the entire 13, 14 weeks.
Now, we had a relationship. I just want to share this now. Okay. I don't know why. But I was like, okay, Avonte, he was coming on. We were going to have him weekly, and obviously things changed rather quickly when the participation report just showed that he really wasn't participating that much. I'm like, man, he's the number 1 safety. And then I remember watching like early film with him, and it was a play. And I don't think I've been that dumbfounded where I was like, where like the natural flow of traffic is just supposed to go in this direction. Vontae just went that way. Like, and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, what? Why did he just run away from the opposite? I'm like, oh, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't end well, Toast.
Listen, we wish him nothing but success. Where's he at?
Yes.
Maryland, I think, with Gaddis.
Oh, awesome. He could be up there with Gaddis. He'll be on the field a lot because their offense won't move the ball very much. There was another play, I think it was against Virginia Tech, and he actually comes up with a fumble.
Oh,
he was the one player that's 100 miles out of position, and the ball just ricochets to him. So he ends up looking like a star. If he stays –
I don't know where he went.
Where he's supposed to be, he might get an interception. He's just going, I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Then the ball goes his way and he runs off the field like a superstar. Where's the turnover chain? Where the hell did that thing go?
That thing's in a box. That went in the Atlantic Ocean too. The reverse Mario boat lift. There it goes.
That's out there like where they have like they'll go looking for the lost treasure of like some Spanish armada.
Exactly.
That's where the turnover chains are at. There's going to be some snorkeler out there outside the keys and go, what the hell? I found me a Cuban leg.
I mark it now. Listen, the chest will be open. Those will come back in like 4 or 5 years when this team is friggin' Mario will unveil them under spotlights.
Okay. Along with the neon jerseys that never came out last.
Exactly. Which I don't understand because I understand this is your alma mater, Mario, but you came from Oregon. Oregon had like 50. I'm surprised they didn't change at halftime with the amount of like different designs and combinations that they had. They wore one every week. I was like, oh, Mario's definitely going to flare it up because I like that. I'm an old school guy. But I thought Mark Richt just overdid it with the 80s socks and was the same uniform combo over. But actually, Mark Richt diversified the wardrobe more than Mario did. I'm like, this is terrible. I need something. Come on, man. This is Miami. This is like culture. Like culture the uniforms, damn it.
Bro, I don't care about the uniforms when you're going 5 and 7. You look like shit regardless. All right, so let's talk about you saw John put up his hands. Let's talk about the wide receiver crew. Because I think we might have some differing opinions here.
All right.
I'll start. I think the three guys that are going to start, X is going to be in the slot somewhere. I mean, Restrepo is obviously your slot guy, although Rashad Smith to me is he can be that explosive dude that just hasn't really blossomed quite yet. I think Jacoby George is going to be the superstar of the group. That's the guy I think that'll eventually go out and be the true number one. And then Colby Young apparently has slimmed down some. The fact that we had a guy from Lackawanna Junior College as the number one receiver most of the year last year tells you something, but he's up to the speed of the game. He slimmed down some, and him and Tyler had a really good rapport before Tyler's shoulder exploded against Duke. Remember, he had a couple of monster games in a row. So I think if they start in a 3-wide set, I think those are the three guys that are going to start, and I think Jacoby's going to be the one that ends up being the superstar.
Jacoby flashed against Texas A&M. I know he tripped. We should have scored. We didn't score a touchdown. He was the closest to scoring. John, the one thing that excites me a little bit, and it's kind of like turning the page back onto Shannon Dawson. Nathaniel Dell, right? He killed it for Houston last year. Killed it. And Miami keeps hearing this thing over and over. We need that dominant X, and maybe I'm like one of the people that put that in the universe, and we put that in like perpetual motion that you need the dominant X because we saw what Charleston Rambo was able to do when he was down here. So you need this big guy on the outside. You need this monster. But then I turn around and I look at Nathaniel Dell. Nathaniel Dell's 5'10", $165. That's it. I saw what he was doing with Houston. He wasn't that guy on the outside. He's working the middle of the field. He's doing some deep crossing routes. He's getting open. And I'm like, now we have those type of guys, right? You got a couple of talented freshmen that come in as well. I think a name too for me, Toast. I think Horton's going to be a name.
I was about to
Horton
bring him
up. Here's a who because I'm hearing a lot of who about Horton. That was a guy that last year was kind of like in the background. But the early reports that at least we're hearing is that he might be a baller in the mix. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I was looking at the wide receiver group, and I don't know if it's just fandom or whatever, but I'm optimistic when I even look at the two deep there. I like the talent. I think we were kind of seeing some stuff. We brought in Kevin Beard. I think it's all. I think you're going to see good things out of the wide receivers, and I think Jacoby. I've been a fan of him since he was at friggin' South Plantation, man. So I'm waiting for him to explode. I've been waiting for it. I thought it was going to be last year, John, but I'm absolutely hoping that it is this year. But, yeah, the key last year was the fact that X went down so early. And, he established a rapport with Colby. But now you start this year, he's got X, he's got Colby, so he's already got a couple of guys he's familiar with that we saw him produce with. So as long as we can keep Tyler upright with this good offensive line.
Well, how about actually having a wide receiver coach who, played receiver and actually kind of knows how to do it. He's not doing a dual role. He's out there. And, I never wanted Kevin to leave years and years ago. His technique I really liked, and it's the intricacies of the footwork coming off the line. I saw some of the stuff that he teaches, and I played receiver in high school. I was a lot skinnier and a lot faster than I am right now. I always was taught just, you come off the line 100 miles an hour. You get deeper into and in high school that might work because you're going against a kid who's going to be working at Winn-Dixie 3 years from now and never going to touch football again. You get into college and you start getting against some of the superstar corners that are out there. You have to learn how to, calculate your steps, set up your routes. Sometimes the release is the most important part about, people think running a slant, I just got to boom, run inside. Sometimes you got to have that jab step outside to set the defensive back, maybe to get him swivel his hips. And now you get inside of him. Kevin Beard is teaching stuff like that. And I think that's going to be really big for some of these receivers who last year, I don't know what they were being taught. I don't know that they were being taught anything. I watched a lot of lazy ass routes. I watched a lot of rounding of routes. I watched a lot of guys not coming back to the football. That's wide receiver 101. You run a 10-yard curl, it's like you run 10 to 8. These guys were running 10 to 11. They were kind of drifting back, and it was ridiculous, and I think Kevin's going to help.
Dude, that would vary from play to play. They'd run the same play back to back, and the receiver would run different, go deep, like 8 and 9 yards different each fucking time. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and you wonder why Tyler was off.
Frank brought that up. He did a thing about that. He did a thing about that on video.
Well, because listen, there was a reason why I did that, because I was encouraged. Go back and watch and pay attention to their routes. I don't understand how you can blame Tyler for that Texas A&M thing. And I'm like, okay, then. All right, let me look. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was like, they're running routes at, and I looked at specific plays. I'm like, they're not running the routes where they're supposed to run the routes. Now, why are they not doing it? Because that's me. I'm like, okay, we could take it for face value. Why aren't they doing it? And John, I think it comes back to what you said. When you don't have somebody with good educational it's one thing to know the knowledge, but it's another thing to teach it. You got to be able to explain it. You got to be able to give it. And if somebody's not getting it, and I've learned this working with young children, right? Young kids, 10, 11, 8, 9, 10. Now these boys are like 12, getting to become teenagers. And I've seen the metamorphosis over the years. And you got to be able to look, and when you say something and you're trying to teach them, I know certain kids that kid gets it, but I see this, he doesn't get it. And you know what? You got to be able to educate these kids on the field, because in that moment, right? Because it was like a 4th down. If we complete that play, and I remember Texas, that's how the game ended. Brashard Smith leaked up the field. And I'm like, Tyler throws it. It looks like it's a bad ball, but I'm like, what stop goes from 6 to push out the 8 yards? Like, you're literally, like you said, when you said out, there was a play to me that came, like, you can't do that. You're gonna hang the quarterback out to dry. Obviously, the play went down, and that's how we lost on 4th down, because we had an opportunity to maybe come down the field and make something miraculous happen. But I'm glad to hear your perspective, at least with Kevin Beard, because we need that guy. We need somebody who can educate, can be a little bit more technical, and finally. John.
It's so funny you talk about and use it with the kids. I'm telling you, and I just came from basketball practice. I smell like track in my office right now, which is not good. But it's the same thing. As I'm teaching kids basketball, trying to convey the way that I play and what they need to do. I probably have 8 of my 12 that if I say, okay, we're going to run a motion offense, we're going to do dribble handoff up at the top of the key, and when you see a lane, and I have 4 kids that are looking at me like I'm talking Greek, and I have to literally walk through the steps. And you shouldn't have to walk through steps in college, but let's be honest, college is more intricate than high school. There's a lot of us that played high school that never went on to play further. And, a high school playbook might be this thick. You've got 9 pages, 3 motions. You have the X lines up over here, the Y's over here. You run the route tree 1 through 9, and or 0 through 9. And that's pretty much it. You get to college, everything a lot of times has an option off of an option. And if you're not being taught the right way, your 10-yard curl that's supposed to be 10 to 8 turns 10 to 11. Your quarterback throws it at 8. It either bounces or a DB's going the other way. These are things that Miami seemed to have lost in the last year or two.
Last year or two?
Okay. Last 20 years. It's hard to be nice, so come on now.
And I'm still laughing at Toast's comment like 2 weeks ago. He said, listen, the wide receiver coach in Miami is going to be judged on just two things and two things only. Are the kids catching the ball on Saturdays? And can you keep some of these big kids at home?
Can you beat up Brian Hartline for 1 5-star guy? And are we not talking about drops on Saturday nights?
That's all. That's all.
I think we have a better chance with no drops than beating Brian Hartline for anything. My goodness, he just walks in and goes, "I want you, you, and you," and we get left at the altar like we're on the show Love Is Blind.
And I think for the University of Miami to have like ultimate success moving forward, like what Mario came here to do, what he envisioned, it is going to start at that position as well, because that's kind of been his Achilles heel, even at Oregon. Like, who is his wide receiver? We know his linemen, we know his defensive linemen, we know some of his linebackers, his quarterbacks. Who's his wide receiver, John? Who's he known for at wide receiver? And if this is Miami, where the playmakers are in abundance, right? They're falling off trees. You have to do it with another playmaker. You have to at wide receiver. You can't miss on these guys continuously, because obviously people have won national championships with those guys, and they haven't been on Miami's roster. And you see what we're suffering with over the years.
Well, listen, this is a huge season for him in just terms of having credibility when he goes into recruits' houses. They all saw the debacle that was last year. There has to be, by the end of the season, everyone has to be in consensus that, we're seeing improvement at Miami.
There's a lot of second-year bumps that happen across college where you go back and look at the history of college football. Year one for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, they were 7-5. Year two, they win a national title. Year one for Nick Saban, and Mario's not Nick Saban. Year one for Nick Saban at Alabama, they're 7-6. They lose to Louisiana Monroe. Year two, they're playing in the SEC title game for a chance to go to a national title. You know, year one for Kirby Smart, they barely beat, oh my goodness, all the kids from Last Chance U. I can't even remember what school they ended up playing at, Alcorn State or Alabama State somewhere. They barely beat them. And then the next year they're in the national title game. Year one for Pete Carroll, 7-6. Year two, win a national title. Not saying Mario's going to win a championship this year because we just don't have that roster. But I need to see 5-7 turn into 9 wins. I need to see 5-7 or 45-10 turn into 35-27. You know, I need to see steps where I'm not scared of Duke, where I'm not getting my ass kicked by Middle Tennessee. You know, who do we play? I don't even know who the hell we play early on. That we're not struggling with Southern Miss 7-6 at halftime or whatever it may be. That has to be the incremental step, because these kids aren't stupid anymore. You can recruit your ass off. You can have the greatest relationship building repertoire in the history of the world. Kids are going to look and go, you were 5-7 and 7-3 or 7-6. I don't want to come to your school. I'm going to go to Georgia. I'm going to go to Alabama. I'm going to go to Clemson. Which, by the way, can I pontificate for 1 second on Clemson? Did you see them open this NIL building?
Yeah. I know where you're going.
Yeah, I thought the NIL there was built on the back of God. Isn't that what Dabo Sweeney said? We had God's NIL deal, and then suddenly there's like $100 million building showed up. That guy there rubs me such the wrong way. It's not even funny. I hope they go 10-3 for the rest of their lives. Just good enough to think they're back to being Clemson and then fall flat on their face. The dude rubs me the wrong way.
Just to kind of circle back on who we're playing early, I can guarantee week one a Miami team is going to win because Miami, Florida is playing Miami, Ohio.
That's right.
Yeah. Then Texas A&M is going to happen. That's our rematch, obviously, at home. BCU, we even won with Josh Gaddis.
And then Temple.
Then Temple, and then Georgia Tech, which has been reeling. So
I'll be at Georgia Tech spring practice, first practice Monday.
So if you're not at least 5-1 that's your first 6 games of the year. If you're at least not 5-1, I mean, the wind is out of the sails. You got to beat Miami of Ohio, Texas A&M. That's the one where I'm saying, okay, if you end up losing to that, BCU got to win. It's Temple, and Georgia Tech's been terrible. You have to be and it's not even you'd like to be. You have to be 5-1. You have.
No, you're 100% right.
Not again.
Yeah, because then you're at UNC. So, then you've got freaking Clemson. Then you've got Virginia. Then it's
NC State, Florida State, Louisville, and then end with Boston College on the road, of course.
Yeah.
And they'll probably make that damn red bandana game.
Of course,
Scoop and Rose favorite.
Yeah. You cannot win that game.
Miami could be undefeated at that point. Undefeated. Boston College could be 2-9 at that point. They announced the red bandana, chalk it up as an L.
Two of our worst games ever. 1991, the week after Florida State, we go to BC, and I think we win 19-14 with Gino Torretta. And then obviously the Ed Reed game. I mean, Ken Dorsey, that's one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. He just kept throwing into coverage. They dropped 8 like Penn State in the 86 or the 87 Fiesta Bowl, and we just kept throwing right into coverage. I hate that place. And I don't like that city anyway. So no, I don't like playing there the day after Thanksgiving. Thanks a lot, ACC. Really appreciate it.
All right, let's. We didn't really talk about much of the defense outside of safeties. And ends. I don't know. Are we still waiting for Jafari Harvey to show up and blow up? I mean, this is going to be LT's final season, right? He's absolutely gone to the NFL after this. He's a monster. Messidor as well, going to be gone after this. How do you guys feel about this defensive line? I mean, is this guy from Purdue going to start at tackle?
He might.
No, what, Branson or whatever? Dean Branson, Dean, whatever it is.
Dean, yeah. Here's what I like about the defensive end position moving forward. And one name that I kind of want to interject back, because obviously coming out of high school, he was highly recruited. This is the way we run under Guidry now with the stand-up defensive ends 69% of the time. For a guy like Cyrus Moss to be up at the line of scrimmage with his length and to just be able to do what he does, spring ball is such an anomaly for me because, yes, my excitement level is not there. It's not there so much for the offense either. I know, and I'm like an offensive guy. I am much more excited about this system with Guidry. I really, really am, and I think defensive ends are going to be okay. I think it's a rare, unique thing. He's playing the pass and route to the run because so much of the college game is built around the pass. And when you have those guys at the line of scrimmage with the vantage point of being up, right, they're in a better position to play the pass. They could get their hands on balls. If they're trying to run that quick RPO game, like trying to just hit that RPO slant, and John was talking about slants earlier, he's up in a big position to go ahead and bat that down. I really like what he's done. I think this defense overall is going to just pick up under this system. I really, really am. I think this is if Miami's going to have a chance and they're going to be competitive and they're going to take the next jump, and it's a sustainable jump and it's a sizable jump, it's going to start on the defensive side of the ball this year, boys. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think with the recruiting over the last 2 years, I'm fine at DN. Mesidor is a monster.
Big time.
I think Jafari eventually doesn't have the job. I think one of the younger guys, either Nigel Leak or Cyrus Moss or Ruben Bain. I know he's a true freshman. You don't get 50-plus sacks in Dade County off shits and giggles. Like, you got to be a ball player to do what he did in back-to-back years. And he did it against everybody. Against IMG Academy, he was unblockable. I mean, Ruben
against
Bain
Francis
is
too.
Stud. Yeah, he's a stud. And I think you find different ways. Rock him down inside sometimes on obvious passing downs. I think you put him on the edge when you need to early on. He's strong enough at the point of attack. I could see him by the end of the year being a 7-8 sack guy and not be surprised as a true freshman if he's up for whatever ACC freshman of the year. I think he's that kind of talent.
Big time.
All right. So what about linebackers? So obviously Wesley going to make the step forward. You get the transfer out of Washington State. What is that? Matt Arago's brother?
Yep.
Yeah. And so now will he displace Corey Flagg? So Corey's more of a backup.
One can hope.
Hey, listen. Yeah. I mean, listen. I understand. Listen. Say what you will. That dude balled out at 110% all season long last year. Should he have been on the field? Should he have been our starter? No. But dude, there was no one else on the roster that was beating him out.
I was like, John, listen, Toast, when this game one happened, and you turn around and I'm literally looking at the linebacking core that essentially was the linebacking core that started the year prior. I wanted to trust this coaching staff at first. I was like, okay, they must know better than I do. And again, we haven't had anybody sniff, I think, in the top 40 in linebacker tackles. And the ACC, when you look at it, it's usually the top linebackers in the conference, top tacklers in the conference are always linebackers. Right. You know, some UNC linebacker convert that was a quarterback the year prior is going to have 140 tackles at linebacker. Meanwhile, we can't. Right? We can't find any linebacker anywhere for like the last 10 years to like really do well at that position. I'm very, very curious what we're going to do there. But yes, I think Mauigoa could be a stud. I like the way he could get sideline to sideline, you know, watching some of his films. So, you know, we'll see what happens. And again, Miami was very fortunate. The two best players that Miami got on the defensive side of the ball happened essentially after spring. Those guys were coming in like April, right? Messidor was like in April. We had Jack April. I know he's no longer here. He's on Florida State's roster. But those two dudes were probably the most formidable guys. So I'm curious to see what we do after spring and they do the assessment. And, you know, and the ink dries on the coach's name tags because, hi, my name's Kevin Beard because I just got here. So, you know, the players got names on the back of their jerseys, but the coaches had to put name tags because they're all new to everybody. But once the ink dries and all the dust settles, I want to see what Miami does because the portal's not done. You're crazy to think the Miami Hurricanes aren't going to keep adding to this roster.
No, they have to. There's holes.
I think Wesley can be a Sean Spence-like linebacker, sideline to sideline, run, instinctual. I like what I saw of him as a freshman. Mauigoa, you know, they always show the big play that he had for the pick six. I have not done enough scouting to know exactly who he's supposed to be. And I think, again, as much as you hate to put it on freshmen, I think there's some talented freshmen. Malik Bryant, although he might be better coming off the edge sometimes on third down, he's going to be there. I really like Washington. I think he brings a lot of thump. And Popo Aguirre, who played in South Atlanta on a really good football team, he brings, and he'll knock your ding-ding in the dirt. And those are the kind of guys you need. Those are the old-school Miami linebackers that want to come up and bloody your nose so you see snot bubbles. It's the type of guys I need. I think Corey Flagg will be a rotation player. And Toast, I agree with you. The kid played his ass off. Unfortunately for us, we're so used to, in the past, having a Jonathan Vilma, Dan Morgan, somebody along those lines. When Corey's out there and his best is probably good enough to run down on special teams on some of our old teams, we chastise a kid, and it's probably unfair to him.
I mean, listen, the roster is what it is. You know, I mean, you had no one there that was able to beat the kid out. So that's, I'm not going to give him shit. Now, cornerbacks, bro. So what? We got the Brown family locking down the left-hand side, I guess, and then we'll let DPJ take over the right side.
I guess. I think the kid from Iowa, Terry Roberts, has a really good chance to come in and play. Iowa, while you think we were offensively challenged, holy cow, they put a clause in Brian Ferentz contract where I think if they average like 23 points a game, he gets $500,000. Like, it's so ridiculous. But defensively, they were really stout for what they had to deal with on the offensive side. So I think he has a chance to come in. I don't know if Devontae Brown starts right away. Maybe he does. You know, he played a lot at UCF. So we'll see.
Who starts if he doesn't? That's like you look at the secondary, bro. Like, we have no bodies. Like, that's got to be a portal through the entire secondary. You have 3 safeties and 4 cornerbacks?
Yeah, we may have 6 corners. You know, if you count some of the young guys,
that means you don't.
Sorry. Exactly right. So portal may be out there as well. And this is where, you know, and the Cormani McClain thing drove me crazy. And I understand the Deion Sanders pull, and I understand what else may have been attached to it. That kid had a legit shot to walk in and be a starter day one. And now he's not. And he'll start in Colorado, and that's fine, and nobody will be watching his games. But he could have been here and been a starter day one. And I agree. This is, again, where the portal, somebody's going to be unhappy at an Alabama or a Georgia. And I wish we could have got Jaheim Singleton, who ended up going to Arkansas. Because, again, he probably could have walked in and started day one. I still think we grab a kid or two out of the secondary.
Have to.
You let him wear your loafer.
Right.
Like, dude, you let him, you took a photo of that shit, and there was a cake. Oh,
so which one was more egregious? Cormani like wearing Mario's loafers, or Chad, or Chad taking a deuce in Saban's toilet? Like, I mean, he played piano and took a shit. I mean, come on, which one?
Oh,
I think it was Chad.
Yeah. The loafers bad. I mean, you knew when the Publix cake was out there, and mom tweets 3 minutes before, we're not having an announcement. I said, this is bad.
It never ends well.
No. There's never a time that they go back to you. You know, that's like the girl that you're getting ready to have the date, and we've all had this happen. You're all excited, you're dressed up, you put on your best button up, and you're about to pick. And 5 minutes before you leave, hey, I've got a stomach ache. Really? All right, I see where this is going. I'm going to go get drunk with my friends and see if I can find somebody else. That's what happened to Mario that night.
So how are we feeling about this? How are we feeling about what would be the biggest two spots that you want to see him address in the portal?
I would say we talked about it. Obviously, you're going to. I don't know. Where's the place where the University of Miami Hurricanes need the biggest impact? I would say corner. If you could grab somebody great in a corner that can lock up a side, and I know they're a dime a dozen, you know, when you say locked out, but it really helps your defense. That's the thing that could, if you have that guy that you don't have to worry about. And when was the last time where I felt that comfortable? I'm going to be honest. It was like Corn Elder. I thought Corn Elder played out of his mind as like a CB1. And he was a guy that was coming out from out of state, was listed as an athlete. And then they said we wanted him all on offense. And Al Golden, to his credit, put him out there. That's the last guy where it's like, dude, that guy locks up his field. So I'd like to see that in quarterback. And I'm going to go out there on a limb. I'm going to tell you this right now. Quarterback too. I legit think we need to have another quarterback, not to push for starter because that's Tyler. And we've been told numerous times that Jakari is like the best athlete on the team. He's picking up as long as this kid could throw. That could be the heir apparent in the future. That's the thing, the comfort of having Jake Garcia. And I know he didn't play well, but we have to have something in case Tyler goes down. And we just do. So for me, corner and quarterback.
Yeah, I'll disagree a little bit on Corn Elder because when we had Malik Young and Michael Jackson, I knew good and damn well that field was on lock. Michael Jackson would go get a big receiver.
Michael Jackson with Seattle right now. Yep.
He had one of the great turnover chain moments in Tallahassee. I enjoyed every second of that. I'll agree with corner. Just when I started looking at the depth chart, and it's Chris Graves and it's, freshman Damari Brown. That's a lot to ask at a position, especially now with the way teams are spread out. In our day coming up when it was, two backs, a tight end, and two receivers. All right, you really only needed two corners on the field. And you remember Miami played cover two man under like 80% of the time. And that was pretty much it. You had two safeties over the top. You tell your corners, kind of lock them up and play physical. Now there's 3 or 4 receivers on the field. Tight ends can go catch the ball. Running backs can catch the ball. So corner, I might even try to grab 2 if I could. And I still look linebacker. I'm talking about freshmen and a transfer from Washington State and a guy in Wesley who only started maybe 5 games last year. I still think I need to find one more guy there that can potentially get things done. But I do think the change in scheme defensively, I talked to a few players that said it was pretty complicated what Kevin Steele was trying to put in. And obviously we didn't have the athletes to grasp that last year. When you watch Tyreek run the way that he ran at the combine, I go, how the hell was a Smurf from Middle Tennessee running by him like he was in quicksand? But I think a lot of that had to do with guys were thinking too much. Instead of just playing the game and using their athleticism, you could see guys trying to figure out where the hell they were supposed to be and when they were supposed to be, and then going back to Avante, knowing that a safety may not be where he was supposed to be. So you're trying to cover for 2 spots in one.
Yeah, so I was obviously safety is mine, and I was right there with you, Ro, quarterback. That and I know Jakari looks good, and Emory Williams he's a big boy. He is a full ass quarterback. But yeah, you need a vet. You need a vet backing up just in case. I mean, right now he's coming off an injury plagued season. Who knows how healthy he is, how sturdy he is. So yeah, I mean, you can't. Depth is an issue right now at a few different positions.
If that's just the one position that if it goes down, you're smelling another 5-7 season. No. 4-8, 5-7, and now
don't say that.
I know. I want to deal with that. And then we completely just tag team partnered with Florida State because they were 5-7 university. That's what FSU stood for. And, they had that. Now, not to break rank and talk about that, we think their 10-win season last year was a facade, John. When you go back and look at the teams that they beat, every team that they beat was either downtrodden or bad. The only teams with a pulse are the teams that they lost to. Everybody else was terrible. So we think they're actually
stormed the field over a 6-win Florida team. And I agree. So we could dissect this real quick. I said this on the air because somebody had them preseason like 8 or 7, and this RJ Young guy had them 4th, and I just laughed. They beat down the stretch 6-win Oklahoma in the bowl game, 6-win Florida, 5-win Miami. They beat some directional school. They beat Syracuse, who might have won 7 games. I think they beat Georgia Tech. Like the last 6 wins, because they went from 3-3 to 10-3, or their last 7 wins. I'm not sure that they beat a team that had a winning record.
They lost to Wake Forest, right? So they started off hot. They beat LSU by 1. They turned around, beat Louisville 35-31. They beat Boston College, who was horrible. They lose to Wake Forest 31-21, so they're held at bay.
And the game wasn't even that close.
Yeah, they lose the next week 19-17. Jordan Travis throws that awful pick. Then they lose again to Clemson 34-28. So here's their wins down the backstretch, John. Georgia Tech 41-16, Miami 45-3, Syracuse 38-3, Louisiana, right? Florida, who was terrible, and that was close, 45-38, and then a 6-win Oklahoma team. They're back, people. They're back. That's just that is not an impressive 10-win season, people.
No, and I wish we had won 10. I don't give a damn. We would have won 10 games against the same schedule they had because we lost to some of those schools. But I laugh at the hype. It reminds me, and I know how we felt going into 2018 after being 10-0 and we 10-3, and at least we had some wins against ranked teams coming down the stretch with Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. It feels pretty similar. You give the long extension to Mike Norvell. Jordan Travis has been there. I think it went Chris Winkie, Chris Ricks, Jordan Travis. Like that's how long. Maybe Drew Weatherford was in there for like a week. He's been there for 13 years. But they lose. Is it Treshaun Ward? I really like Treshaun Ward. I thought he was the electric back they had. I know Benson down the stretch was really, really good. I could have ran for 100 yards against us that night. Yeah. Our kids quit about the time that pass interference happened on the first drive. They were ready to get to South Beach.
Yeah, they did quit. And the student section was gone by halftime.
Yeah, they were.
Well, I was right there with them. I've left early twice in my life. I left this is a horrible story, but I'll tell it anyway. The Peach Bowl against LSU, it was 33-3 about mid-third quarter, and I looked at this girl I was with, and I go, I'm out of here because I was way younger and way wild. I'm going to be in a fight. I end up at a club, some techno rave club with this girl, and I look over, and she's got her face buried in a mound of cocaine. And then I left her. So I left the game, and then I left her. I don't know how she got home. Her car was at my place. I put her keys underneath the windshield wiper and I never talked to her again. I was like, I don't deal with people with a mound of cocaine. And then the Miami FSU game this year, obviously I fly down. I had an 8 a.m. flight home the next day. Don't ask me why. On Spirit. The dumbest thing you could ever do. Brad Tejeda texts me at right close to halftime and goes, how do you feel? And I'm just, you guys know me well enough. I turn into rant monster and I'm screaming at anybody that's walking by. I hate these stupid players. I can't believe I don't even know what I'm saying. Brad goes, let's go to let's hit the club, meaning one of the shoe modeling establishments. Hell, let's go. And I go there for a little while. He leaves. I look up, it's 2 a.m, and I'm sitting in the bar by myself like the loser that I am at that point, just drunk off my ass. And I go, holy crap, I have to be up in 4 hours to get to the airport, drop my rental car off, and fly home. I've never wanted to barf in a bag, but halfway through that flight, I'm looking at, and mind you, Spirit, nothing's free. I'll take one of these $9 bottles of water because if I don't drink it now, we're going to have problems. Those are the 2 games that have ever left early, and both times have ended horribly.
Best part of that FSU game was the tailgate beforehand.
Oh, my God. It was epic. Yeah. I've got videos from there. It's epic.
Yeah. We tailgate.
Yep. Right? All right. So, John, we're going to do some live spots and then do 5 questions. I know you got to wake up.
I love your 5 questions. No.
Right.
I'm sticking around for 5
beautiful.
questions, especially if it gets into porn like I've heard before.
All right. Before we get into the 5-question porn segment, dude, Ro and John's not going to see this because he's up in Atlanta, but, dude, have you noticed Teddy Morris on the TV commercials? Have you seen him? March Madness, he's all over the tournament games on ESPN and stuff. I've been seeing Teddy Morris. He's in that diner on Cypress Creek Boulevard with the Silver Diner, and that's where they recorded the commercial.
What, Lester's Diner?
Yeah. No. The Starlight
Diner? Oh, that's a pretty famous diner. Well, Teddy Morris is killing it. Not only is he killing it with 4 wheels, he's killing it with 2 wheels too. So, got to make another trip up to Daytona soon too. Got to see the Teddy Dynamo store. You got to see Teddy Morris Harley Davidson. Bro, Toast, are we going Harley? Are we going Harley at one point?
Yeah, we're going Harley. I was made for a fat boy.
Yeah.
Made for a fat boy.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're getting older. We're not screaming crotch rocket these days, right?
You kidding me, bro?
No.
So I was never screaming anything like that. Yeah, I slowed down a crotch rocket.
You hear him in the title open, all the people served. They are and still price match guarantee. So let's go.
edmorse.com. All right, so we got our boys at Manscaped. I don't know about you, John. You take care of the boys down there. The testicles good. You're trimming everything up.
So my wife, a year ago, I said, for Christmas, I want a Manscaped. She goes, why? I said, I'm tired of nicking my balls with an old pair of clippers. So she bought me Manscaped. Oh, my goodness. My balls are nice and clean.
We got the
best, right?
We got the promo code OBB, 20% off. So next time you order up.
and sometimes some of our people who have ordered from this, like they'll have some other sales and it compounds. So they've got the things for like more than half off. It's amazing. Yeah, OBB, that gives you the promo code. Hey, and your balls will thank you, just like Toast balls thank him.
Right now,
here's the worst part about that. I have a 13-year-old, and he goes, we just completely train wrecked this segment here. But my daughter comes in and goes, who is using my safety scissors? So he has scissors. So I don't even know what they're for. She's a 17-year-old girl. These little tiny. Kane was using the scissors to trim his balls and leaving the hair all over the toilet seat in their shared toilet. So I got him a Manscaped as well. I was like, dude, you're 13. And I didn't want to show him. I said, I'm going to show you on your arms because I don't want to see your balls.
My buddy Tyler and me, college, in the bathroom, it had like dual sinks, and there were just a whole bunch of pubes on the floor. And I'm like, bro, really? You didn't even clean it up? He's like, I'll get to it or whatever. And then I'm sitting there brushing my teeth, and I go, what clippers did you use? Yeah. The ones that I use on my face and on my head. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You motherfucker. Oh.
Yeah. What do you mean I'll get to it? Yeah. Like there's hair on the floor.
There's pubes too, man. It's like, God. Jesus. All right.
Is that a crab? Oh, come on.
As I was saying, we got March Madness is coming up. Our boy Beating the Bookie has all the picks going on. He's got packages going on. Go to beatingthebookie.com. Order up your packages. He kills the PGA. He's got Champions League soccer going on right now as well. Major League Baseball is getting ready to start with spring training happening right now. So check out our boy beatingthebookie.com. And then Ro,
I'm top row watching, so you got to add it all up.
Yep.
So for $35, you can go to Caneswear right now. The Miami Hurricanes Swish basketball net T-shirt. All right, that's $35. Let's cop that. A little bit further down the road, pre-order Miami Hurricane Adidas Tournament On-Court Fresh T-shirt. So we're giving some basketball love. I'm not there yet because that's only $28. I need to get over 99. So why don't we get the Miami Hurricanes home plate flag? Oh, it's the baseball team. Oh, whatever. It's still a cool shirt. We're up over $99. If you get up over $99, it is free shipping only at Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie, Florida, 954-835-5597. It is the fastest shipping in the West.
All right.
Caneswear.
Last but not least, our buddies over at DraftKings. March Madness, all the betting going on. You got to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code TPPN. Make your first deposit. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code TPPN. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
And admit you want a beer, though, too. You want a beer? Toast, you want a beer?
I love a beer.
Where are you going to get your beer from?
I'll probably go to the Tank. It's a great place to watch the basketball games.
Yeah. That is wonderful. Their food is awesome. Every time we have those live shows there, like they always have like something new seasonal on there too. Like the pork lollipop things, those things were fantastic.
Pork
their
lollipop,
burgers,
anything. You name it that's going to be phenomenal.
And their burgers were like fantastic for like, they're known for their beer. Loca. Oh my goodness. That is you get a frosty ass, like big ass mug from the Tank. Just put that thing in your freezer and then get Loca and you just pour it in there. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Forget about it.
All right.
Take Brewery. We love those dudes. Let's go.
You guys are making me hungry. I'm on keto. It's not good.
5 questions.
5 questions.
Questions.
Here we go. First one. What's a sentence that will trigger an entire fan base?
Oh my goodness. What is what is a sentence that would trigger a entire fan base?
I got one for you. I got one.
All right.
The Millennium Falcon was the best ship in Starfleet.
Starfleet? I'm thinking like teams. You're talking about
I went Star Wars, Star Trek. I went nerd. Piss off the nerds.
Starfleet. I mean, if you go there, I was like, the Last Jedi should be canon. I mean, that would piss off a bunch of people. That movie was terrible. I don't know. You piss off a lot of fan bases down here, and all you got to do is the simple quote: just say 5-3. That's all you got to say. Yeah. You want to piss off a fan base, just say 5-3.
That one will do it. I think if you say anything, if you say insert college here is a poverty college, immediately when you use the word poverty, you piss off everybody.
Yeah.
Like if you say right now Florida is a poverty college, which they are, a lot of their fans will not be happy with it. I used to be able to piss off Georgia fans when I'd say it was 41 years. Now I can't say anything to them.
So, would it trigger the entire Falcons fan base if you just say Tom Brady to them?
You just have to utter 28-3. That's it. And apparently me doing a video, I don't know if you saw the video I posted the other day at our website, me doing a video about the Falcons wearing a Miami Heat t-shirt pissed off the entire city of Atlanta.
So I know where you're going, but I want to take this one because this one's funny. If aliens were to invade Earth, which cinematic alien would you least want to invade us?
Ooh. I'll tell you. All right, I'm going. I think I'm going Predator.
Yeah, but there's usually only like a couple of them. They don't really like.
Dude, but look at who he took out. He took them all out.
He took Apollo Creed right out. He took Apollo Creed.
Jesse the Body.
Yeah.
Think of all the future governors that were in that movie. A B-rate 80s movie about an alien from another planet ended up having 2 governors of the United States. Come on, everybody, get to the chopper. That was such a phenomenal movie. For me, dude, I want no part of the aliens, like the actual aliens. Like, what are they called? Necromorphs? The like Ridley. Those
first
aliens.
Alien movie, the one that popped out of the stomach.
Yeah. Those. Oh, yeah. No, because they'll come in millions. They'll wipe us all out.
I was just saying the only way they were able to beat them in the original movie is throw them out the door. Like there was no. That dude had teeth. He was angry.
Yeah.
I didn't like him at all. Does Terminator count? Was he an alien or a robot?
He's a cyborg
robot. I mean, he's technically an illegal alien in probably real life. Or is he on a work visa?
Jesus. Wow.
Oh, sorry. All right, sorry.
Roe actually took mine because I was thinking of the dude that came out of the stomach.
Yeah.
Like just that scene of that guy laying back.
Yeah, and then they spoof that in Spaceballs. Remember that?
Right.
What did he have? Check, please. Hello, my darling. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime doll. Like, that was the end of the movie. And you could see the little stick underneath them. They didn't even bother to CGI. There was no CGI. Long live Mel Brooks, though. That was an amazing movie, Spaceballs. Hey, have you found anything yet? We ain't found shit.
Dude, they just, that he just released History of the World Part 2 on Hulu.
Yeah, you're oh man. How did he get away with that?
Right. All right. Here's a good one. Ro knows what's coming up. What's the funniest euphemism for masturbation you've heard?
Ooh, boxing the bald-headed chimp.
Wow, I've never heard that one.
Oh yeah, my drummer's dad said that. He's like, Tony, what's taking you so long? You boxing the bald-headed chimp? I was like, what?
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Petting the purple-headed yogurt slinger.
Oh wow.
Wow. Okay. All right. Roughing up the suspect. Shaking hands with the governor. Slapping little Johnny behind the ear.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them. All right. You got one, Ro?
As I've told females in the past, this dick ain't going to suck itself. But that's all different.
Oh, that was from that movie. That was a disturbing movie. Off the air, I'll one day, if you get me in the right place, I'll tell you even something more disturbing while that was playing on in the background, what was going on in my life. Oh, that was so disturbing. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and get another way. What do you think's the best way to answer a telemarketer?
Oh, I will absolutely go into like stereotypical voice, or I'll just start answering them in like movie quotes. They'll call, hey, this is so-and-so from Progressive, whatever it may be. And I'll be like, sweep the leg, Johnny. I'll just do random stuff like that. They'll typically hang up on you.
That is awesome. Usually I try to avoid it at all costs, but I think random 80s quotes would be the best.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Yeah. Next time they call, I got it. Next time, I'm just going to go full Eddie O on them. Okay, hi, Progressive. I'm just going to let me go ahead and put this cheeseburger back down real quick. What are you calling me about? Okay, go Tigers. And after everything they say, just end it with, go Tigers. Go Tigers.
Bro, I can't remember the last time I answered a number on my phone that wasn't in my contacts.
Well, the problem is now, Toast, they actually will show up with like random names. It doesn't show up as, some of them will say scam, and I normally won't answer those. Some of them will be like, Jane Johnson. I'll be like, who the hell is it? Like, is this a team mom I need to talk to? Is this one of my salespeople? I have no idea. And then again, you just go into random movie quotes, and they'll typically hang up.
That.
I like that. Yeah. Random. All right.
We got one more. That was only four.
I know.
Short.
Oh shit. We got one more. All right.
Yeah.
All right, hang on a second. Let's see here.
So I'm not going to necessarily, because I'm seeing a question. What kid movie is scary to you? But I don't want to ask that question because I think we could come up with a better fifth question. But randomly, I'm just standing there with my kids, and in the background, I see Dora the Explorer, right? Mm. And instead of like taking it for face value, I'm just staring at Dora, and I'm like, what parents let their kid just go unsupervised into the rainforest? I was like, where's Dora's parents? To which the lady behind me just looks at me and says, sir? I'm like, never mind. I'm that guy. I turned into the male Karen real quick.
Right.
What you got, Toasty?
All right, let's see. How about you got one?
This one's funny.
Yeah. All right, go.
This is a funny ass question. What were some of Jay-Z's 99 problems?
Oh my goodness.
Well, we know a bitch ain't one.
Yeah.
What's Beyonce's sister's name?
Solange.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's one of his. That's one of Jay-Z's
problems in one. Yeah.
Yeah, she put the hands on JC. That's right. Now, I got to think about this. His 99 Problems. One was the awful video he was in. I don't know if you ever remember the song Hawaiian Sophie with Jazzo. That's actually the first song look up Hawaiian Sophie. One of his biggest problems was the stupid ass outfit they put him in. He had like a Hawaiian shirt on, and they're doing the luau like it was Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I mean, it's one of the worst songs ever. For Jay-Z to go on to be the billionaire icon that he was, his start was pretty bad.
That when you said like that, the hurricane shirt, I was like, Forgetting Sarah Silver. That guy's always in those movies. He's always so awkward in every one of those movies. I can't think of it. I think so. Yes, it's like every movie he does is just awkward. And I don't do awkward. Scoop loves that shit. I can't stand it. I don't want to watch something to be.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall is one of my favorite movies. First of all,
Mila Kunis,
I chop off the finger. And I have a thing. I don't know why. I'm not typically into skinny blondes, but Kristen Bell, I'm telling you, in anything. When she was in the what was the show with Don Cheadle, House of Lies? When she was Jeannie Vanderhooven. Oh man, the things I would have done to her, it would have been nasty. It would have been fantastic at the same time. But Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I love slapstick dumb comedies. And what's your guy's name? Jonah Hill. He has some of the greatest one-liners that you probably don't catch in that movie. But he had that man crush on the British guy, whatever, Aldous Snow. And his song Inside You. Oh, I laugh at that stupid movie every time it comes on.
Last night it just came on, so we started watching it, Major League, and it was the unedited version. And I'm thinking to myself, so here's just a bonus question for you. What's the last great sports movie?
Remember the Titans.
That long ago, okay. And that's 20 years?
Oh, yeah, easy. Varsity Blues was before that. Friday Night Lights was good and was after that. And I'm trying to, Miracle may have been after that, but that was a true story.
Remember the James Conn football one when they're really FSU? The program, what was it?
The program. Oh, ETSU, Eastern Tech or something. Yeah. What was your guy's name that played quarterback in that movie? You had Bud Light Kaminsky was an offensive lineman. Latimer with the paint, doing all kinds of steroids.
And replacements.
I can't. Yeah, you started this by saying Major League. I can't tell you how many times a day I quote that movie.
Oh my God, dude!
Now when telemarketers call, give him the heater, Ricky.
Give him the heater. Me and my wife and I just throwing lines back and forth before they're saying it. It was freaking ridiculous.
So here's I have to tell you guys this story because you guys will appreciate it. I work with Hudson Mason, who played quarterback at Georgia. Great dude, but he's like 32. His movie knowledge goes about this far, and I've got my fingers about a quarter of an inch apart. We played the Brewers in the playoffs, the year the Braves won the World Series 2 years ago, opening round playoffs. Hudson goes on this epic rant about the last time the Brewers and the Braves played in the playoffs. It was like the 60s or 70s. They had Hank Aaron. They had this guy named Bob Uecker. Hand to God, he called Bob Uecker. Mind you, I'm on a 5-man radio show. 4 of us are in our 4, and we stopped and goes, who? He goes, I don't know who this guy was. Bob Uecker.
Oh my God.
Bob who?
Dude, Bob the bit outside.
He had never heard of Bob Uecker in his life. And I said, you've never seen Major League? He goes, no, why would I watch that? I go, you work in sports radio. It's one of the greatest sports movies ever. So he's finally watched it, and he goes, okay, that's pretty fucking
But he doesn't even realize that back in the day, Uecker was in beer commercials. Like he was
right.
in the
I get no respect.
To the stadium.
He did a sitcom.
He did. Yes, Mr. Belvedere.
Now, again, in fairness, Hudson is 32. I think he was born in 1991, or I was graduating high school or when he was born. When he said Bob Uecker, I literally almost peed myself on the air.
That's awesome.
And he gets so mad at us because I'll just throw movie quotes at him, and he's like, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking about." And no, I didn't see the damn movie.
One of the best lines from Major League, and it's not the most popular one. By the way, we're living in South Florida, so a lot of Spanish. If I hear one person say the word "sí," like "sí," like yes, I'm like "sí, Pedro." That's A. Yeah. But when Charlie Sheen he goes out to the restaurant and he has like the sleeveless, like kind of tie. And the line is, and I say this too all the time, like, especially like now something's choking me and I'm like, I feel like a banker in this. I feel like a banker. Oh my goodness.
That whole restaurant scene with Wesley Snipes swishing around the wine.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. You may run like Hayes,
but you hit like
what
shit.
Are you looking at? My wife. Does she know that?
So you can do this all day.
The scene where Tom Berenger he like stalks the girl and walks into her place. First of all, who has an elevator that opens up directly into your penthouse? I don't think those exist in Cleveland. He walks in and they're having like that stuffy, weird ass party. And I think the one wife is looking at him like she wants to bang him. And her husband's like super dork.
Great movie, man. Fuck, if you've never seen that movie, kids, go fucking see that goddamn movie.
Don't see Major League 2, 3, 5.
No, 3.
Just the first one.
Yeah.
Although every now and then my kids in basketball will do the big balls.
Yeah.
Like the Asian
you have no marbles.
You have no marbles.
Yeah. All right. Exactly.
All right. I think we know what we're going to name this episode, right, Ro?
Well, I texted one thing, but then later on, I think you should name it Bob U Y-O-U Ecker.
Bob U.
Bob
Ecker?
U. Ecker.
The other option was Ding Ding in the Dirt.
Oh, I love that's where it should be. You got to knock your ding ding in the dirt.
Ding ding in the dirt. When he said it, I was like, yeah, John's naming his show. He didn't know because we do this all the time. Habitually, as the show progresses, the titles just come to us. Yeah, ding ding in the dirt.
Beautiful.
But Bob U. Ecker was close.
Yeah, Bob U. Ecker was good.
Our radio station actually made shirts that said U. Ecker. So when Bob Uecker's birthday just passed a month or two ago, we actually took pictures with a framed Bob U. Ecker t-shirt. It said, "Happy birthday, Bob Uecker." We tried to get him to come on the station. Bob's old. He's got to be in his 80s now. He doesn't travel with the Brewers anymore. And I don't think he wants to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and hear us call him Bob Uecker.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. He's an icon. Let him be.
Yes.
Well, listen, John, thank you so much. For those that don't know, by the time this thing drops, this guy's got to be awake to go do a radio show. So cannot thank you enough for hanging with us and filling in for Scoop. We appreciate it, bro.
Good. Anytime. I love hanging with you guys. It's always a lot of fun. OBB Fins will be coming back. We got to make sure that's pushed a little bit more by me. And I'm actually going to be a little more precise on the time it drops.
Going to be awesome. We'll get that whole thing going. And man, thanks again. As always, go Canes.
Hey-o.
Bang. Nice.
That's another episode in the books. The Orange Bowl Boys are brought to you by Ed Morse Automotive Group. Visit edmorse.com.